What's up, everybody? You are here for the town hall. UFEA season is closing out. Technically, all matches should be over, but of course, we know there's probably a few lingering. We need to make sure, of course, we get those done by tomorrow. It's your boy, 1 Minute Silence, league director here, and of course, can't ever forget that my trusty number two here, RuneSkin. Oh, Mike is not being picked up. He is currently working on that. We're having some technical difficulties.
Testing, testing, one, two, three. I am RuneSkin, and I am very loud on OBS right now. So how about I turn that down for y'all? I'm RuneSkin. I'm the other troll that lingers around the UFEA Discord server. You see me ping you a lot.
And of course, our buddy Bygones, or the Good Golem, is here tonight as well. He is hanging out right now in the Town Hall 1110 Discord channel, which is where you can get your questions answered. If you are a subscriber, of course, you can also access our Twitch chat. But the reason we're sub only is we wanted to drive all questions into one location as opposed to two to make sure it's easy for us to answer your questions as they come in. Without any more delay, we want to go ahead and hop right into actually our second item of the night. If RuneSkin, you want to switch that over to our town hall screen?
Yes, sir.
We'll get back to the general overview there above at the top. Oh, I think you're at the last page. We'll get to the general overview in a brief second here, but we wanted to make sure that we didn't take advantage of the time of our good friend from Stay Plugged In. Kyle is here with us tonight. He works over at Stay Plugged In, which of course is our premier recruiting partner for collegiate pathway opportunities and scholarships. They also run lots of really awesome events that, as a league, we've participated in, that we will continue to participate in, certainly during the summertime. But the most important thing that they do for us is they run a showcase event for us. So I will let him talk to you a little bit about it before I go any further. Kyle?
Yeah, thanks so much, Chris. Hey, everybody, my name's Kyle. Like Mr. 1 Minute Silence said, I was one of the founders here at Stay Plugged In, and really what we do is we're going to help you find esports scholarships. So if you're interested in playing at the collegiate level, we have a ton of different opportunities that can really help you out, and a variety of them are directly with the UFEA with our upcoming showcase on December 2nd. What these showcases are from an event perspective is it's simply playing in front of college recruiters. So it's not like the kind of traditional esports tournament you might see out there in a variety of places, where you come in and play for cash, right? Recruiting is so much more than that. There's a lot that goes into the recruiting process. And a lot of it's playing directly in front of those college coaches, where they get a scouting report with all of your information, so they can easily reach out, see what your in the game skill sets are and some of your outside the game skill sets as well as you create your profile on the Stay Plugged In platform. And it makes it really easy to connect to those college coaches, and it centralizes that entire process. So I totally recommend everyone to play in the showcase on December 2nd. It's completely free. There is absolutely no downside whatsoever. This one will have 3 game titles for Valorant, Rocket League, and Overwatch 2. Just to throw out some quick numbers, as it says here, the last fall showcase we had 50 plus scholarships from UFEA students directly. And what our platform does on each showcase is it gives everyone a free subscription code. So it unlocks all of the platform features that we have on the Stay Plugged In side, which there's a ton of really cool social tools that you can DM college coaches on the platform. You can see who's viewing your profile, similar to LinkedIn if you've ever used something like that, and a variety of other things. So with that, typically we see about 5,000 profile views for each of these events, where that means a college is viewing a variety of different players, including yourselves' profile, which is really great to start that recruiting process and go from there. So that's what the showcase is all about. Kind of the next point that I'll quickly make before letting 1 Minute Silence back on the microphone is our platform. So if you haven't already, create a free account on the Stay Plugged In platform, completely free. No ifs, ands, buts, ors about it. Your profile becomes instantly viewable by all colleges on the platform, so they can go in and see your profile, et cetera, and see if you're a good fit for their program. It's a really good way just to get noticed and start that conversation. If you haven't already and you're remotely interested in esports, collegiate esports, or pursuing a scholarship opportunity, does not matter how old you are. Start today. And I mean literally now. The more time you wait to start that recruiting process is just less opportunities that you may not receive. Time is always of the essence. So whether you're a senior or a freshman or anywhere in between, or maybe even in middle school, start looking, especially if you're younger, start looking at kind of what kind of college do you want to go to. Involve your parents. That's super important. And just start making those first steps to identify, hey, what do I really want out of college? Do I want to go to a big state school? Do I want a certain game or a certain type of league that the college might play in, et cetera, et cetera. Lastly, if you ever need any help with the recruiting process, it's what we do. We've facilitated in the last 2 recruiting classes over $20 million in scholarships in the last 2 years alone. So we know what we're doing. Yeah, we're the biggest and the best at helping students like you find those esports scholarships. So if you ever have any questions, you don't know how to start, just shoot me a DM. I'm always in the UFEA server. I'm the Stay Plugged In guy. I know it says spin prod / web dude in my bio here. So shoot me a DM anytime. I'm more than happy to help you. Involve your parents. We can set up a time to have a one-on-one discussion with either myself or one of our in-house recruiting specialists. And that's one of the things that makes us very different. Kind of the same thing that UFEA does is we're not a bunch of bots. We're not a bunch of just meaningless people on a computer screen. We're real people. We know recruiting through and through with traditional sports backgrounds and esports backgrounds. So please reach out with any questions. And I hope to see all of you that play, especially Valorant, Rocket League, and Overwatch 2, to sign up and compete at the December showcase.
Kyle, is Carey to College closed already?
It is. If there's any teams that want to sign up, we may have a spot or two. For Valorant and Overwatch 2 specifically. At Overwatch, we definitely have a few spots. But there is a tournament this weekend. That one actually has a large prize pool, about $1,000 a game. So if anyone's interested in Carey to College, it's on the website, which I put the chat, the links in Twitch chat. If you go to the events page, you'll see Carey to College, and you just have to DM me if you want to sign up. It closed earlier today. But yeah, no, a lot of exciting things that are always going on here to help everyone find the opportunity they ultimately want.
There you go. And Stay Plugged In has obviously done a lot for us. They've helped a lot of the kids in the program, 50 plus scholarships, as you mentioned. I think we had one kid actually receive a scholarship last year from Stay Plugged In, given to a UFEA player. So, we have close ties with them. We want to continue to build on those opportunities. We want you guys to see that there's tons of collegiate opportunity in front of you here. And one thing I think is important to mention is not every esports scholarship is for a radiant Valorant player with a 4.9 GPA. There's a wealth of scholarships for a wealth of unique type of student and player, Kyle, right? Oh, Kyle has muted himself. Kyle is not currently feeling well right now, so he definitely had to carve out some
I'm still here.
Oh, there he is.
Sorry. Yeah, I was trying to get all of my words out at once, muted myself, and just maybe coughed up a lung. So I apologize about that. I missed your question because I was coughing. Will you say that again?
I said that scholarships that are offered in esports kind of different in a lot of ways from traditional sports is they're for a variety of different students who you don't have to be a top 500 Radiant Valorant player with a 4.9 GPA and 17 AP classes to get an opportunity for an esports scholarship, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. It is basically open to anyone, and it's not just esports player driven either. You can also get recruited on a scholarship to be a caster or a producer or a kind of a esports driven social media person at collegiate level. So really, if you want to be part of an esports program or team at the collegiate level, there's a variety of different ways to find scholarships and opportunities to do that. And as far as inside the game play goes, we've had silvers get recruited on scholarship, literally. I kid you not. So as long as you're proficient at the game, which if you're playing in UFEA, you are, there's definitely an opportunity out there for you. So never feel like, oh, I might not be good enough. Never let that stop you. Always go down the path as far as you can. There are schools that recruit very good players because they win the championships year in and year out. But that doesn't mean that you can't find many other schools. I would say the average rank is kind of that 50 to 60 or about 50% percentile depending on the game. So usually that's gold or platinum for most games is where most kids are getting recruited right now. So never feel like you're not good enough. Start down that path and see where it can take you.
Great. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for taking the time while you're sick, and I know it's late on your time zone, which we do have a lot of teams here, of course, that are from that time zone as well. So thank you for taking the time, and we can't wait for that event, which again is on December 2nd. It is December 2nd, only Friday night. The event will be, Kyle, I think we talked about 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's why we put it on a Friday night, so those events could go a little later, won't interfere with your school schedule, guys. So we can't wait. We are super excited for it. You can pretty much guarantee that I'll be hanging out throughout the evening too, helping out, being a part of that event. So Kyle, thanks again for being here, and we look forward to the event.
Yeah, thanks for having me. See you guys.
Have a good night.
See ya.
All right, let's dive into the next step real quick here so that we don't waste any more time. I'm going to go through the general overview, and you'll kind of see RuneSkin and I just flopping back and forth to save our voices, of course, since this may go a little long. Just keep in mind, I'm pretty sure that this is being recorded. If it's not, then I know that RuneSkin will rip the video off Twitch, and it will end up on our YouTube as well. We'll go ahead and make sure you guys have access to that via our announcement channel as well. So, of course, make sure you keep an eye on the announcement channel for the next few days. Lots of information incoming. A couple of general policies we wanted to make sure we go over here. We're just going to go through these bullet points kind of quickly. All seeds are determined by regular season win-loss records at the end of week 7. Okay, so that's how all seeds apply here. I'm still in the general up there at the top. All the way up. Yeah, right there. All seeds are determined by regular season win-loss record first, and then after that, if there is a tie-in win-loss, then seeds will revert to a round differential. Okay. Some titles will have 3 weeks of playoffs. It's basically every title has 3 weeks of playoffs except for Apex and Fortnite. They only have 2 weeks of playoffs. All playoff games must happen at scheduled time of day and play. So make sure you carve those times out real clearly on your schedule. You need to be sure that you guys are available at that time. There can, of course, be some extenuating circumstances. We understand emergencies take place. We ask that coaches get involved if that is an issue, and they submit a ticket so we can directly address that separately. Open championships will receive trophies. In the past, other champions have received medals. I think we're probably going to go ahead and just go with trophies for every team this season, for every winner this season, that is. Of course, no players can be added or removed from rosters. All players on roster or on a team must be rosters, or must be roster players. Otherwise, they will be disqualified. All right, I think we're ready to hop into it.
Let's do it.
All right, I think I'm doing Valorant, right?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
doing You're gonna take over after a couple of these, yes?
Yes.
All right, so Valorant. Of course, every one of these, not everyone, most of them are going to look very similar with the seeding situation here for a single elimination bracket, and that's basically every game has a single elim except for Apex and Fortnite. Okay, you can see the seeding there. You have 1 versus 8, 4 versus 5, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6. It's super traditional, super standard. This is what you see in any type of single elimination bracket. But every game has a little bit of a uniqueness to it based on the amount of divisions within skill levels and whatnot. So, Ben, if you want to scroll down just a smidge there, and I'll review Valorant real quickly. Open Division only plays Open Division. Top 8 teams will qualify and be seeded based on the leaderboards. There are 10 teams in that division. So based on tonight's results and the rest of the season, 2 teams will not qualify for playoffs. For Alpha Division, because we have 3 Alpha Divisions, those are all the same level of skill, or they should be the same level of skill based on reported ranks from coaches during the registration process. We will be taking 2 teams from all 3 of the Alpha Divisions, 1, 2, and 3. And then we will have what's called a wild card. And that's because, of course, we need 8 teams to really round off that bracket there. Those 2 teams, what will happen is we will take the remaining teams that were not qualified by being one of the top 2, and we will reseed them entirely. And the 2 top teams of that pool will then also ascend to the playoffs. And, of course, those 2 teams will be the 7th and 8th seed teams in the playoff single elimination bracket. The same will occur for the Delta teams, Delta 1 through 3, top 2 teams from each, and then the wild card will be the top 2 teams that did not qualify by placing as one of the top 2 teams. I think we're good with Valorant. You can see here, same thing for Overwatch 2, seed 1 versus 8, 4v5, 2v7, 3v6, same exact system. This one is a little unique because, of course, our seasons were a little abridged, simply based on the fact that Overwatch 2 did not drop at the beginning of our season, but we didn't want to waste time playing Overwatch 1 when Overwatch 2 had already dropped. Shout out to those Overwatch teams who have been really good this season about playing their matches within 24 hours of the scheduled time and reporting. It's been a great season for you guys. We really appreciate that. Taking a swig of water here. No, wait. Oh, still going there. Hold on. Back up. Back up there, Ben. Yeah, right there. Top 8 teams for Open, of course. For Open for Overwatch will qualify. For West Alpha, it's a little different. Okay, all teams will qualify because I believe there are 6 teams in West Alpha and in West Delta. And so what will happen is, because we need 8 to make sure that that single elim bracket works, Team 1 and Team 2, or Seed 1 and Seed 2, will receive a bye in round 1, meaning you Seed 1 and 2 for this season currently have no play next week, and you will have no play the week after, because the week after is Thanksgiving, so we're off that week anyway. So first round, we'll see Seed 4 versus 5, and then we'll see Seed 3 versus 6. And then we'll revert right back to that bracket above, where you'll have Seed 1 playing the winner of 4v5 and Seed 2 playing the winner of 3v6. And that is for both Alpha and Delta. Next. I know this is super informational, guys. Don't worry. You'll get a copy of this. You'll get a copy of all this stuff. No problem. League of Legends, excuse me, same exact thing as far as the setup goes for the other ones, but we do need to review a little bit about how the League of Legends is going to operate. It's actually called League of Legends now, is the official name we're going by. No longer League of Legends. Solid typo. Scroll on down there. All right, all divisions are going to play in the same pool this season. We spoke with the Alpha East teams. And to be quite honest, the Alpha East division, the pool really shrunk down. We had some teams leave, and it kind of started to fall apart a little bit. So what we realized was it would be easier if we just merged them into the West so that they get an opportunity to really compete. And the teams that have qualified have agreed to play at 4:30 Pacific for playoffs. So we're good to go on this. It will be Alpha 1 West will get 3, Alpha 2 West will get 3, and Alpha East will get 2, because they had less teams in their division, so they qualify less teams as well. Teams will be seeded according to their win-loss record. The little difference here, because there's no real round differential for League of Legends, it's just one game, is we'll look at the strength of schedule and who they beat and who they lost to, and we will seed them based on their schedule or performance. Next. I'm going to call on you here, Ben. Do you mind hopping in? I need to take a swig of water.
Rocket League is a wonderful game that will also have a traditional seeding bracket. You'll see that 1 versus 8, 4 versus 5, so on and so forth seeding. There are 8 distinct divisions within Rocket League. That means that we will take the top 8 teams from the Open, the top 8 teams from Alpha, top 8 teams from Delta, and top 8 teams from Alpha East. I probably should have distinguished coasts there. But note that these divisions are not going to intermingle. I know you do see an Alpha West and an Alpha East division. They will stay separate because they are in different time zones. Those players will play in their respective time zones. So we will take those top 18, seed them against each other, and they will be playing. Important note is that Rocket League becomes a best of 7 when we go into playoffs. So for my Rocket League players out there, you are no longer playing best of 5s. You are now playing best of 7s.
Oh, a good point to throw back to Valorant is that those are best of 3s, not best of 1s. League of Legends, same.
Yes, that's really important. So yeah, if you're a Valorant player, you're a League player, you're a Rocket League player, know that you are playing extra games during playoffs. Not only do you have to show up at the scheduled time, you need to make sure you have all of that time blocked off so you can potentially play 3 games of League, 3 games of Val, 7 games of Rocket League. All right, let's talk about Smash Bros. Things are about to get a little bit more complicated here, so if you're a Smash Bros player, please bear with us. This is a little bit more complicated process than you might be used to. So for seeding, seeding is going to sort of differ based on coast. We'll talk about that when we get to each different division. But the most important thing to mention, playoffs will be a double elimination bracket. For those of you that are unfamiliar, I'm going to show you a preview right now on stream, and this link will also be in the Town Hall document, so you can check it out at the end. Look at this monster bracket. This is specifically for the West Coast. This is not the East Coast bracket. But just you can see, there are going to be 64 players in this bracket. It is massive. But the important thing, double elimination, right? All players will start off in the winner's bracket. But if a player loses in the winner's bracket, they will be removed from this winner's bracket, and they will move down here to this area called the loser's bracket. We said it was double elimination, right? So that, of course, means if you lose a game, if you lose 2 games, I should say, you are knocked out of the playoff bracket. So if you lose a game in the winner's bracket, you lose a game in the loser's bracket, you are out. That is the end of the line for you. Obviously, there are advantages to be in winner's bracket. Winner's bracket has 5 rounds before semifinals. Loser's bracket, on the other hand, has a whole 10 rounds. So anybody making a loser's bracket run has quite the run in front of them. Once again, this link will be posted on the Town Hall document. We'll put that in the channel at the very end for you to read on your own. Channels. Channels are going to be very different for Smash Bros. You're not going to see your typical channel that says, NHS Timmy versus MHS Jimmy. It's not going to look like that. Channels will be numbered based on their bracket number. So if you take a look right again at challenge, you'll see this bracket right here is labeled 1. There will be a channel called Smash Bros. Week 1 Playoffs 1. So that these 2 players will meet in that channel to coordinate their match. They'll play out their match just like normal. They'll report their score just like normal. There will be a special protocol for reporting your score. You will not need to go to the Google form and do the regular thing. What you're going to do is you're going to put a special line of text in your channel that says, NHS Timmy won 2 games, MHS Jimmy won 3 games. That way, admins pick up on that. Admins will report all of this information live on the challenge bracket, and you'll have to pay attention here. Eastern Division. Let's go to Eastern Division. The top 5 players from each pool are going to playoffs. So if you are a top 5 player in your pool, you will receive a playoff berth. There will be 1 wild card player as well. So just a heads up there, once again, that will be just 1 wild card player, not 1 wild card player from each pool. That is 1 wild card player in general. That wild card will be selected based off their win-loss and round differentials, and only the players that achieved 6th place will be considered for that wild card spot. In week 1, Eastern Division, there will be a winners round 1 and a winners round 2, losers round 1 and losers round 2. What this means is that at this point, once losers round 2 and winners round 2 is played off, playoffs will effectively be paused at that point, and they will be unpaused the week after, or I should say the week after Thanksgiving. When we go on to week 2 of playoffs, we'll play winners round 3, winners semifinals, and losers rounds 3 through 5. And then, of course, the very last week of playoffs will be the winners finals and losers round 6. West. For the West Division, only the top 3 players from each pool will receive a playoff berth. So that means if you are a top 3 player in your pool, by the time the season is over, and the season is pretty much over right now, you will go to playoffs. These players will, of course, be seeded by win-loss record and round differential. There will be 10 wildcard players selected for the West Division. Only the 4th place players in their pool will be selected. So once again, we will only be considering the players who are 4th place in their pool to take one of these 10 wildcard spots, and that will also be decided based on win-loss record and round differential. Now, this is key for my Western teams. There are a lot of games to be played, especially on week 1. So in week 1, we will play winners round 1 and winners round 2. We will also play losers round 1, losers round 2, losers round 3, and losers round 4. So that means there are some players who may potentially play 5 games in one night. I need to emphasize the fact for Smash players, you are not just playing one match on your playoff day, you are playing multiple matches on your playoff day. So you need to like buckle in and be ready to play multiple games. And that's going to mean, of course, there are stage strikes for each of those games individually. Week 2, you can see it right there. Week 3, you'll see it right there. Once again, players need to be strapped in for many games. One more thing I need to mention. There will be a quote-unquote bracket reset in the grand finals game. So what does that mean? So for the player who got through the winner's bracket, so that means a player who started over here, didn't drop a game in round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, and semifinals, whichever player goes undefeated up until the winner's bracket, or until grand finals, I should clarify. If that player is to lose the grand finals, there will then be a bracket reset. That means the best of 5 match will be played again because that winner has not dropped a match. They are afforded that one loss. There will be this bracket reset where a second best of 5 will be played. Once again, I know this is a very complicated situation from what Smash players are used to. Please, please, please drop us your questions in that town hall chat if you need any clarification.
Okay. Fortnite. Okay, Fortnite will be a little unique, a little different than what we are used to. So for Fortnite, you will have all teams will qualify. Everybody qualifies for the first round of playoffs, and your Alpha and Delta pools will continue to play. Now, remember, our pools are not split by skill level. Our pools are simply randomly split, and what we try to do is make sure that everybody from the same organization, whether it be an arena, a LAN center, or a school, they all played in the same pool. And the reason for that was ease, of course, because coaches, we know, sometimes it can be hard if kids have to play on the same space in the same area in different lobbies. That would get very confusing. In the future seasons, we are looking at splitting Fortnite and Apex by skill level so that we have a true alpha and true delta. We are playing a little bit with our divisional names. There may be some changes to that. We're not sure yet, but we will be exploring that for Fortnite and Apex just to have that on your radar. Week 1, everybody will drop as usual, but you will play 3 drops. Okay, you will have no points will be given to you, or you will come into playoffs with 0 season points. The only points that will be assigned are what are called advanced starting or placement points. Now, in our rule books, it reads that at the end of the season, teams that are placed on the leaderboard in first place through like 25th place or something along those lines, it's actually here on the document, receive that quantity of points on the screen there as they enter playoffs. So that means the first place team from Alpha will begin playoffs with 22 points in the bank, whereas the 49th place team will have 1 point in the bank. And of course, the idea for this is, of course, that we need to make sure that our regular season play is valuable and important and that it means something for round 1 of playoffs. Now, at the end of round 1, all the points will be tallied, including the advanced starting placement points. It's a standard point system, so they'll be given the same points as always for every drop. You'll play 3 drops. We'll count those up. And then the top 25 teams from Alpha and the top 25 teams from Delta will move on to round 2 in week 2 of playoffs. So you'll have a 50-team pool that is made up half Alpha, half Delta to crown a single true winning duo. Now, that will not receive advanced starting placement points. Your points will not carry over. Everybody will start with 0 points in round 2, and we will have 3 drops, and the highest point total team wins. So hypothetically, a duo who gets second place in every drop could end up winning overall because they maintain such good placement throughout. Remember, a game of Fortnite is about consistency more than it is about getting the Battle Royale every single time. I think that about covers the Fortnite. 3 drops, standard point system. Okay, Apex Legends will function much in the same way, except that there are 3 different drops because, of course, there are only 20 teams allowed in a single drop. So what will happen for Apex is that the top 6 teams, everybody will drop in week 1 of Apex. All teams will drop. You'll do 3 drops instead of 2. And then similar to Fortnite, you'll be the teams who placed 1st through 10th in regular season will be awarded the correlating advanced starting placement points, the same as Fortnite here. So the first place team in Alpha for Apex will begin playoffs with 10 points in the bank for round 1. Okay, the same thing across all those divisions. All the divisions will play. And then for week 2, the top 6 teams from Alpha, Delta, and Omega will qualify for week 2. And then, of course, because we need to make sure we have full lobbies for that week 2, that only gets us to 18. We will do a wild card for the last 2 teams, and we'll just select out of all the rest of the teams that exist, the 2 highest point totaling teams across week 1 will also qualify for week 2. That'll give us 20 teams to compete in round 2. Winner of round 2 night or round 2 will begin week 2 of playoffs. Round 2, no one will have any points to start. No advanced starting points will be awarded. You will just start with a blank slate, 3 drops, winner take all. I think that covers Apex as well.
Yep. So we're going to spend some time talking about the spring 2023 season. I know for some of us that seems like an eternity away, but I promise you it is actually right around the corner, whether or not you realize it. So we do want to make sure that our teams are prepared and ready and in the know, because we actually do have some significant scheduling changes that we want teams to be aware of. Right off the bat, you will notice that the registration deadline for the spring season is February 15th, right in the middle of February. That is the deadline that we will take registration. Something important to also notice, in the past, UFEA has always had 2 weeks of preseason play, but for the spring 2023 season, we will forego the second week of preseason. I'm going to talk why that is again in a moment, but I just want you to see the rest of the schedule really quick. And you know what? How about I'll zoom out to 125 so you can see the whole chart there. There will be a regular 7 weeks of play starting February 20th, and regular season will end around the beginning of April. Notice that during week one of regular season play is actually President's Day, so there will not be a Fortnite drop that week. Playoffs, of course, 3 rounds, as you've come to expect, ending right about at the end of April, which is important because we know a lot of players that compete in our league have AP tests coming up right around the corner. We do not want our season to interfere with that, which brings me to this topic. Why no 2 weeks of preseason? And by the way, RuneSkin, why is there no spring break in UFEA? So last year, if you were part of UFEA, we did have a spring break week, but unfortunately, every school seems to have spring break at a different time. It's impossible for the league to line up a spring break with a time that would be most beneficial for most schools. At the most, we benefited maybe less than 25% of our teams by having a spring break. There will not be a break for spring break in our schedule. This means that teams who have spring break and will not be able to play during that time need to be coordinating their games ahead of time. For those of you that may be unaware, the UFEA.gg website has the entire season schedule listed from about the end of week 1, beginning of week 2. So you can go on the website at the beginning of the season and see every single game that you're going to play. And if you know that you have spring break during a particular week, we're asking that you contact your opponent ahead of time, tell them the situation. They'll of course understand that you have spring break, and you can work out a time to reschedule your matches. So once again, we are putting the responsibility of rescheduling your spring break matches on the teams. Also, why is there only 1 week of preseason? We really wanted the season to end before AP tests began. Like I said, there are many people in the league that are taking AP tests that start, I think, right at the end of April and then, of course, go through the middle of May. We want our season to end before then because we don't want players to have to pick between, grinding out that SSL rank in Rocket League and grinding out that 5 on their AP Lit tests. So with 1 week of preseason, we'll end the season right before AP tests begin. There shouldn't be any conflicts there. So that's just something to be aware of.
So over here answering questions right now. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So I will talk about one of the last things we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh, no, I'll jump in. I'm good.
Oh, okay. All you.
Okay. So we can't say a ton yet because there is a lot of work behind the scenes being figured out right now. But we are planning on hosting a pretty big major event January 14th to 15th. We were going to wait to announce it until we could give all the details, but I thought this seemed like a pretty good time for us to at least point to it. Basically every game that we offer will play on the 14th and 15th. It'll be a 2-day event. It'll be long. There will be panels, there will be speakers, there will be all kinds of good stuff is going to happen. It's free. Everybody is excited, or everybody is welcome to join. Even non-UFEA teams are welcome to participate. We just want everybody to get involved, to have a great time at this event. It will be a tournament. It will, of course, not be a standard elimination tournament, simply because we expect to have too many teams. But we will run a tournament. It will go for 2 days. It's going to be super hype, super exciting. We would love for you guys to mark this on your calendar. It's a great thing to keep you guys occupied, give you something to do during that off season, and while you're already back in school. Also, a good chance to maybe scout some of the future competition. Like I said, though, more information to come. Look for some announcements in early December. Super important that I know a lot of you folks, if you don't qualify for playoffs, you guys disengage, and totally cool. I get it, but you're not going to want to miss the announcement for this event, and of course, information about the spring season that will continue to come out over the future weeks as well.
Last little thing here. We just want to give some teams quick reminders about the UFEA BM and toxicity policy, especially going into playoffs right now. As the league expands, I mean, I think it's just natural. More teams come in, more teams might not be familiar with our rules. And on top of that, I think we're all familiar with gaming culture and how prevalent sometimes BM and toxicity can be. So I just want to briefly talk about this. We are just asking that coaches and team captains are aware of their team's behavior, whether that's in game, whether that's in Discord, whether that's in game chat. We just want to remind everybody, per UFEA's BM rules in our rulebook, a student that displays toxic behavior or BM in game will potentially be suspended for multiple weeks. You can see all of the penalties on the screen right now. Of course, BM can be a lot of different things, simply being rude in chat, things like teabagging, spraying bodies, or generally trolling in a game. All of those things are considered BM. If you'd like specifics, you are more than welcome to check our BM and toxicity guidelines. That is on our website, ufea.gg. You'll find it in the rule book section. Especially going into playoffs, we're just asking that coaches and team captains please take responsibility for your teams. Please make sure they are aware of these rules, so that we are not potentially breaking any of them as we head into this playoff season.
I think that pretty much covers it for the night. I feel like we got through this pretty quickly. So just a heads up, I've taken that link and I have posted that link in the Discord channel so you guys can click it, because of course it's not going to be clickable on the Twitch screen here. I can, I guess, put it here as well, though, in the Twitch chat. Just a feedback form. It's really important to us as an organization that we continue to work on our league and develop the league to meet the needs of the coaches and the players, and the arena owners, the whatever you guys want to call yourselves, anybody involved in the community. We want to make sure that we continue to work to build something that meets your needs, and that is exciting and fun and safe and non-toxic, but also is flexible. And so keeping that in mind, we have, as we do every season, created a Google form that we'd like you guys to fill out to give us a little bit of feedback. You, of course, can you can remain anonymous on it unless there's really only one option on there for you to enter your name should you like to do so. But yeah, we just would love for you guys to provide any feedback that you possibly have. We will send this form out again in individual channels for all the teams in the coming weeks as we kind of close out the rest of the season. I think that pretty much good. Don't forget, of course, to follow our Twitter, where you should be seeing lots of our top 5 plays of the week put together by the one, the only RuneSkin himself, alongside a couple other folks who've been working with us to make sure that we get that out on our social media accounts. Could be you guys on those streams, so make sure that you're submitting also your videos to the Sweet Clips channel, where RuneSkin is definitely pulling clips from at times. Of course, that Sweet Clips channel should only feature UFEA matches. Please do not post anything from your own public matches. Other than that, I think we're good. Do you want to close us out, RuneScape?
Yeah, I guess we can be here maybe a little bit longer. If there's any lingering questions in the chat, we will maybe answer those in the next maybe like 7-ish minutes, depending on how the volume of questions. So if you have a question, now is the time to ask. Once again, that form is in chat. It is in the Town Hall channel as well. So to clarify, Sweet Clips, like 1 Minute Silence said, the Sweet Clips channel is reserved for clips that are recorded during UFEA matches. They should not be for any old pub game that you're playing. They should only be clips taken during a UFEA match. Ooh, there's a spicy question. How do you work for UFEA? I ask myself that question sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we are a relatively small organization at this time, so keep an eye out for postings.
Are there any other questions? Okay, we'll give people. I see some people typing in.
Oh,
chat.
you know what? I will go ahead and talk real quickly to a question that was brought up earlier that I think we might want to mention here on stream, which is about the spring breaks. A coach said, could we create bye weeks that align with spring breaks? The problem is that puzzle, I mean, a 1,000-piece puzzle takes several hours to put together. Couldn't even fathom what it would be to create divisions where you have 8 teams that all have different spring breaks. They have to have different spring breaks because everybody would have to buy at different times. It would just be unbelievably complex, especially as we've kind of outgrown we used to do everything by hand, but we've outgrown that functionality and we've had to automate our tournament system because it just became impossible with so many teams. So I guess the rule of thumb here is we're just going to move forward without it getting in the way of AP exams and final exams for the season for students and the kiddos in the league.
When can I work for UFEA? Oh, there is a bold question. I don't know how to answer that one.
Particularly for NHS kids, never.
Woo!
Just kidding. Just kidding. As I'm sure you all know, RuneSkin also does run the Norwalk High team. So throwing a little shade here while I can.
That's right. That's right. If you are a Norwalk kid, I know you. You got to get a lot past me if you're going to get hired here.
Poor Norwalk kids. just getting totally throttled right now. I think we're good. If we don't have any other questions, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off. Of course, we will make sure this is available to you in a number of different ways and channels. There was a question earlier also about the playoff brackets. I do want to say, hopefully, once we get all the reports in, we can start building those. They're pretty quick to build. We will be using Challenge for it just because we have seen a little bit of trouble as we fumbled through the website this season. We know it's been tough on you guys, and we appreciate it. It's getting close to where we want it to be, of course. So we will get all of those brackets created and posted in the corresponding announcement channel for the game. We will of course ping those players as well.
All right.
Okay.
And I think that about does it. Yeah. I mean, so we are going to leave that Town Hall channel up. If you do have like a question that, it's 12 a.m. and it hits your brain and you can't go to sleep without asking it, put it in there. We will be watching it. We will also put the link to this Town Hall doc in that channel in a moment if you'd like to scour through it, take any looks. Of course, if you have any more specific questions, you are always welcome to create a help ticket. We will answer you. Another note too, by the way, if you're checking the website right now and you're trying to figure out your playoff situation, scores are not 100% updated, especially if you are a Valorant or League player. Those games were, I mean, they might be playing right now, but they were just played, a few hours ago. We are going to try our best to have standings updated by this Friday and over the weekend so that you are aware of where you stand and if you are going to playoffs or not, depending on your game.
Okay. I think we're good to go. We're calling it a night. We appreciate you guys being here tonight. It means a lot to us.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll catch you later.
Thanks.